In the spirit of reconciliation, We Are Theatre and Theatrically Loud acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. Theatre fans, one and all, welcome back. We are here for the We Are Theatre podcast. I said that really weird. Why did I say that so weird this week? But guys, I'm here with one of my favourite theatre photographers in the UK right now. Danny, hello sir, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. So cool.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. I have been following your work for literally years. Oh my God. It's been so long.
Thanks. Thanks. That's so weird, but so cool. Thank you.
This is the first time Danny and I have actually spoken, not over Instagram, guys. So this is
not over Instagram, yeah. I see your face.
You guys will know Danny on Instagram as Danny with a camera. He is just a flat out incredible photographer working in and around London theatre at the moment. How did you get into photography?
Good question. I bought a camera at one point when I was on a holiday with my mom and my two little brothers. And then like in the Netherlands, we had like these papers every week with all the products that were on sale. And then I just was in my bedroom in the caravan on holiday. And I was just looking through this thing and I saw a camera on sale. And I said, Mom, I'm going to buy a camera. And she was like, absolutely not. You can save your money. You don't need a camera. This is not going to happen. And I was like, yeah, it's nice if I have one. Why not? And she was like, no, it's 400 euro. You have to work so hard to get this. Just don't do it. And I said, Mom, it's my own money. And then I bought it. And it was like a very old camera. I still have it here just as like a little souvenir to where it all started. And then I just started to take photos of like different things. So I remember that my first time in London was with school, but then the first time I actually went to London with my friends, I brought a camera with me and I have like a hard drive with some pictures on there. And it's like the Tower Bridge, but only half of the Tower Bridge is on there because I didn't even know how to take a picture. And Big Ben is on there, but the sky is way too bright and like it's awful. And then I just went to like open performances and stuff because like my biggest passion is musical theater and stuff. Yeah. So I just took it to West End Live and we have like a Dutch version of the West End Live as well called the Musical Sing Along. And a few years ago they used to Olivier Award performances in Covent Garden in London. So I just always took my camera there. And then at one point, Carrie Hope Fletcher shared my pictures of the Olivier Awards on her Twitter. And then I was like, people really like the work that I do. And then I just really started to growing in there. And I watched a million YouTube videos on how to set your settings and how to edit and how to make your, like sometimes when you take a picture of something, like for example, the sky of like with the Big Ben, I was like, how can I make the sky more blue in the back? So I just YouTube tutorials and stuff. And I did all of that. And that's basically how it started, with just taking pictures randomly at events and stuff.
I feel like that's like, I do a little bit of photography as well. And that's exactly what I do. Like, what setting do I use for this setting? Like, what do I need to do to get this? How do I affect the lighting like this? And then like editing, it's like, what do I need to change in this to like, YouTube is your best friend, guys, if you're starting.
Yeah, YouTube is the best. But it's the hardest thing as well, because sometimes I have people messaging me as well, and they are like, oh, so I'm going to do this concert. What do you think my settings should be? And I'm literally like, I have no idea, because I play around at you never know how much light there is going to be. You never know how many people are going to be on stage. So it's really hard to just be like, oh yeah, shoot on this, because it might be way too dark or it might be way too bright. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. And like they might have a blue light, but the blue light might be a really dark blue light or a really light blue light, which are two different completely.
Yeah, and there might be a red light and you want to quit your job because red lights are awful.
It's funny because scrolling through your Instagram feed, there's like a ton of like red light theater.
Yeah, but that's the editing. That's like because it's like orange and then I make it more red. Because and that's the thing. I spoke with 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I did Rise Up with the Arts, and it was a charity concert with like loads of dancers and stuff. And then I spoke with the lighting designer, and he was amazing. He did such a great job with like all the performances. And then there was one song related to Moulin Rouge, and he made it red, of course, because that's like the color of the show.
Yeah.
And I came to him afterwards and I said, thanks for doing this. And he said, oh, I forgot, red is an awful color, blah, blah. And then he just didn't do it anymore for the rest of the performance. So I was like, this is amazing.
Oh, man. So much techie stuff. For you guys that don't understand what we're talking about, it's just hilarious. So Carrie Hope Fletcher kind of started it all. Shout out, Carrie. Thank you.
Yeah.
Getting to where you are now, 34,000 followers on Instagram, doing behind the scenes shots on the West End, on Broadway. How did you build your profile to be able to connect out? Like, how did you, let's say, network with all the artists in London to get to the point where you are now?
So it started with the fact that so years ago, I mean, I'm Ariana Grande's biggest fan. Well, I mean, I say that, but yes, I am actually. I went to one of her shows and I took my camera with me, and I took some pictures of her concert, and then they basically went viral. So they were literally in magazines all over the world and stuff. But the thing is, I couldn't say it was me who took them because I wasn't the official photographer. So like I didn't have the rights to have them. So that was really cool, and that kind of started my following on Insta. And then I think like I remember that I went to Paris with one of my friends just for a weekend fun, and I remember that I said to him, if I have the 5,000 followers at the end of this weekend, I will, because we really wanted to buy nice cakes from a store, but they were so expensive. So I was like, I'm definitely not buying this because I can buy 20 of them in just a supermarket. And then I remember that I said to him, if I reach the 5,000 followers, I will buy us a cake. And then literally an hour before we had to catch the train back, I reached the 5,000 followers. So we had to go to the store and buy these cakes. Which was like a nice celebration in the train back home. But like, I mean, I really don't care if I have 1 follower or if I have 10 followers or if I have 34,000. Like, it really doesn't make a difference for me at all. Like, I don't just use my Instagram as my portfolio. But it was just a really cool thing that it happened. Like, I started my account on like a month before that, and then until I posted that picture of Ariana, literally in one weekend, so many people got to see it, and like my reach was insane, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy what's happening. And then Celine de Schoenmaker, who is a Dutch musical performer, she was Christine in Phantom of the Opera, and I asked her if she wanted to do a photo shoot backstage, and so we did. And then because she shared them on her social media, people kind of started seeing that I was like not just someone who was taking pictures, but actually someone who like was able to come in the dressing room and take some pictures around there, and was like more like also nice chatty vibe, I think, and not just like, because a lot of photographers are just like a photographer and are just like doing their job and stuff. But I also really like chatting and just talking and just like having a nice vibe and stuff. So I think that really helped in doing that. So then more people from the cast of Phantom messaged me and asked if I wanted to do that with them, which was really cool. And it's so funny because I actually should share this one day, but my friend Anik, who is one of my best friends for the rest of my life, she used to be my assistant. So I don't know who I was or what I thought, but I even created an email for her called anik@dannykaan.nl. And then she emailed people, and then as soon as people reached out to me in my DMs, then she sent them an email and she was like, "Hi, it's Anik here. I'm Danny's assistant. Blah blah blah." Then he would do this, and then he would do this, then he would do this, and then if you share pics on social, then he would love to be credited in this way. And I don't even like the fact pictures are shared every minute of the day, and like I'm never credited and stuff, and I don't mind because it just happens for the past 3 years now. So the fact that she wrote this in this email is just ridiculous, and just like, why was I like this? Who did I think I was? I was nothing. Um, and then I reached out to some producers as well. So for example, Fame Productions, who did loads of stuff at Sedell, which is kind of the 54 below from New York, and Sedell is just so nice, and it's just wonderful things are happening there. And then I reached out to them, and I reached out to Lambert Jackson Productions, and I reached out to Western Dust, and I just basically said like, I'm looking for more work because I just want to improve my skills. I want to learn more about photography. Is there any way I can photograph one of your events? And I think I just was there at the right time because they didn't have anyone, and like there wasn't someone who was doing that kind of things. Like every time when I was in Sedell's, there was no other photographer. And Lambert Jackson and Weston Doss started at the time that I reached out to them. So I was there at their first events, and um, yeah, I just think that really helped. And then because I did all these things, people started recognizing my face, and I'm always wearing the pink cap because it's just the easiest thing. So people just started to recognize me from that way, and yeah, I just got to know people better and better. And then they saw on my Instagram that I had like a following there as well. So they just took me more serious, I think. And then, yeah, now we're here.
Now we're here. This is such a cool story. Like I feel like we're on similar paths, just in different kind of categories of creative media. Like you're shooting, I'm recording. Like it's just a matter of getting out there and asking. Like you'll never know what you're gonna get.
There's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I don't like the times that I messaged the PR on Broadway, for example, to photo shoot with Sarah Bareilles when she was in Waitress, and I was so close to getting there. And then I'm really like, by the time, well, still I'm like really nervous to like really push people in like, but I know, I mean, you kind of have to do that, but also you want to keep your name in a nice vibe. But I remember that in New York, the last time I was there, no, the time before the last time I was there, I had the phone number of the PR lady from Waitress, and I've emailed with her like a million times, and we were so close. And then in the week I was there, she didn't reply anymore to my emails, but her phone number was in the emails as well. And I remember that Anik, she called the PR lady and she pretended to be me. So she was like, "Yeah, hello, it's Danny." And it's just, I still see her sitting on the bed in the hotel room pretending to be me. But then like the photo shoot was all like set and done, but then in the end, the manager of the Waitress building, I think it was the stage manager, he didn't want to do it in that week. So in the end it didn't work. But like the amount of times that like I tried things that doesn't work, but it's fine. Like other things will work, and like some things won't work.
100%. And I think if you're afraid of hearing no, you'll never get anywhere. And that's like
exactly
like we probably asked 100 people to do something and we'll get 20 yeses and the rest no's. Like you just got to flow with the yeses, and then eventually word will spread and those people will be like, "Oh crap, yeah, you asked me to do this, I'm keen now, do you want to do it?" And I'll be like, "Yeah,
exactly."
Like it's all about just opening the door and planting that seed of let's do this.
You're totally right. That's how it works.
This is so good. So moving from the Netherlands to London, what spiked that decision for you?
Well, in the Netherlands we have theater as well, but it's how am I gonna say this nicely? It's not from the same quality and it's not on the same scale as it is here in London. Again, Anik used to live in London, and I came to visit her, well, twice a month. So I was in London so many times, and every time now when Instagram and Snapchat do like the the memories from so many years ago. Is literally every weekend it's like, hi London, and then bye London, see you next week. It's great. I don't know how I had the money or how I live my life, but it's great. I was so often in London, and then because I started to know people more, and because like sometimes when I did a photo shoot, I literally like I photographed Jason Robert Brown at the London Palladium. I literally flew on Wednesday in the morning, had to take off my day of work in the Netherlands. I flew in the Wednesday morning and I flew back in the Thursday morning to start work on the Thursday again, just to have like one day off. And like that happened more often, and I missed out on things that I really didn't want to miss out on.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe it's time for me to do that as well. But I remember that when Anik moved to London, like I think 7 years ago now, that I said to her, "Whoa, I'm so proud of you. I could never do that in my life. How can you do that? It's crazy to leave one country and all your friends and your family in one part, and then move on to a country where you don't know anybody." And like it was so weird. And then so many years later, I did exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I think the point in me was I had a really nice job, and I really liked my job that I used to do in the Netherlands. So I studied marketing, so I had a marketing job in the Netherlands, and I really liked that. But I did it for 2 3 years by the time, and because of like personal reasons of one of my colleagues, I had more responsibilities in the job. But then she came back in the job that she had, so my responsibilities went back to where I basically what my job was, and it was nice, and I was fine with that. But then I really wanted to do more creative stuff as well. So I tried to get another job in there, but I mean, there wasn't a job, so I tried to create a job for myself there.
Yeah.
It was like one of the biggest companies we have in the Netherlands, so you can't just really create a job for yourself when you're 21. So that didn't work out, and then I was like, I think it's just time for a change for me, and then I moved.
Boom. And now we're in London
And
kicking.
now we're around it, and now I'm never moving back to the Netherlands.
So, getting into, I'm just constantly scrolling through your Instagram feed, and it's just filled with like incredible people that you've shot, and obviously a collective of people that you continue to shoot with over time.
Yeah, which is so nice. I think that's the nicest part of my job, that I I have this connection with people now, and then you see them so often,
Yeah.
and some of them became my friends, which is also the weirdest thing, because it's like people I've like looked up to, and people I was when I used to live in the Netherlands, like for example Rachel Tucker. Like I literally day sat to see her last show in Wicked. I was there at 4 a.m. to get my tickets at 10 a.m. And now she's calling me. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Like,
You just
it's
don't get used to
crazy.
it, do you? Like, you see someone like message you to check in on you, and you're like, oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's so weird. It's like, yeah, I can't believe it.
um, so I discovered you through Six. So let's go down that just while I'm like
Yeah.
scrolling through your Instagram feed here. Um, obviously you've worked with the OG girls from Six quite a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
quite a lot.
what? How did that all start for you with those girls,
um,
getting to work with them the way you have?
so, I mean, I saw Six before the hype really started. So I saw Six on when it was on their little tour, and then they came in London for I think 2 months or whatever it was. I saw it then with my friend Sophie, and I really liked the show. I was like, "This is such an amazing show." Really liked it. I love the fact that I remember that like they say it's a 75-minute show, and it started at 8 o'clock and it finished at 9:15, and I was like, "This show is 75 minutes, starts on time, the girls are amazing. This is like literally, this is insane." And then afterwards, that show, it was like a press night or something. Afterwards was a Q&A as well. And I stayed for that. Like only 20 people stayed for that. So I didn't really understand why, because people who saw the show really loved the show. And I was like, why do you not stay to like hear more about how it is for the girls to do that and stuff. And that was just really interesting. And I was like, well, it would be so nice to know more about these girls and to maybe shoot with them one day. But then they went on tour and stuff, so it didn't really happen. Then they came back to the arts for like a few months, but they didn't know it was going to be for that long. So I saw it again when they came back, I think in end of February, beginning of March.
Yeah.
And that was before the hype was there. So rush tickets were literally the easiest thing to get. Like it was going to the supermarket and get a bread. It's always there.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I saw it again the day after because I was like, this is incredible. Then I saw it again the week after. Then I saw it again the week after because the rush tickets were so easy, and it was literally like I think £25. So it was just so easy to get them. And then the hype started, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen. So then I didn't see it for a while. But in April, I think it was April, I reached out to the PR. I knew one of the PR girls from another project that she asked me for. So I reached out to her and I said, it would be so cool to do a backstage photo shoot with the girls, blah, blah, blah. I would absolutely love that. And then we did that. So that was my very first time that I actually met the girls. And I just went backstage and they were doing their makeup and stuff. And they were just like, we just like were chatting and we took some pics. But then I had to leave because how do you call this? The company manager, she said, okay, you have until half an hour before the show and then you have to leave. So I left. And while I walked back, I was like, it's so sad because I don't really have any pics of them in their costumes. I just have them doing their makeup, which is really nice. Like I really liked the vibe, but I just was like, that's the really cool pics. So it's fine. I shared them on social. They started following me on Insta. We just had like we reply to stories sometimes and stuff. Just what you do on Insta. And then some of them, and with some of them, I mainly mean Natalie. She did like loads of different concerts. Like she was always like a guest performer somewhere. And I was always there to photograph the concert. So like we had like a really nice connection. And then Amy Atkinson was going to leave Six. So I sent her another message and I was like, I would absolutely love before you leave the show to take some photos of you in your costume. So she said, yeah, I'm totally up for that. And then that's the moment I realized that I shouldn't ask. I mean, should I say this in a podcast or not? Then I realized that I shouldn't ask the PR and press to do things. I realized that I should just ask the performer to do it because it's so much easier.
Sometimes it's the way to get things done, though. I know,
exactly.
You'll go to PR and you'll get a yes, and then they just won't reply because they get swamped after like the show launches. They get swamped with PR requests. So if you go directly to people and get them to ask, it refreshes, and then oh my god, we got interest from actual people to get involved.
Literally,
but do it the proper route, guys.
It's crazy. But nothing offending to PR and press because they do amazing work. Yeah. But like, and I get it because the fact that I'm coming in their dressing room taking a few pictures is not going to bring them anything. So like there's nothing in it for them at the time. Like afterwards, they might use my picture for an interview or whatever. But at the time, there's no benefit for them to let me do. So like, why would they invest their time? But then I realized it. And then I did my photo shoot with Amy. And I remember that she opened like the stage door there and I walked in and she was like, so I have this little plan. And I was like, oh, okay, I just expected to take a picture of you. And she was like, so I have this plan. Me, Natalie, and Maya are every Sunday doing a little photo shoot with ourselves. But now you are here, so now you can take the picture of the three of us. So they had like these little costumes that they were wearing with a Six jacket and like all black jeans and stuff. And then we just walked around the theater and we took a few pictures. And then I said, well, before we leave, I really want to take a picture in your costumes. So then they changed into costumes and we took a few pictures of that. So then like I really got to know them. And then that's how I spoke more with the other girls as well. And then every time when Six did something, I was there to photograph. When they did concerts, I always was there to photograph. And then like the original girls became a band called Seven. And I'm always there when they do something. So yeah, it's all really cool.
That's sick. It's just literally the epitome of just ask the question, just try and get your foot in the door.
It's
So
literally like the amount of DMs that I've sent to people with like, oh, shall we do a backstage shoot? Like it's insane.
yeah,
Yeah.
just got to ask. We can't do this interview without touching on the last year.
Yeah.
COVID as a photographer, a theatre photographer, when there's no theatre,
Yeah.
you went out of your way to find work and create work in other ways. But what was that initial kind of feeling for you when you found out, cool, theatres are shutting down?
It was so weird. It was so weird. I remember um I had like the busiest time of my life by then. But like also in a nice way. So I went to New York, and Anik, again, my friend Anik, she was wearing this weird mask, this really big face mask, and she was like, I don't want to catch this virus that's going around in the world. And I have a video on my phone that I'm literally filming her and I'm laughing that she is wearing this mask because I'm like, why would you do this? Like it's the weirdest thing. Like it's on the other side of the world. Like it's not a big thing, you know. And for the whole week, it was just fine. And then on the flight back, she was wearing the mask again, and I just was laughing so much. Just it was ridiculous. And then I was in London, and I had like a few photo shoots. Then I went to Greece to see the Greek production of Phantom of the Opera. Because they had the new production there and I knew some people in there. So I wanted to photo shoot with them. Plus, I just really wanted to see that show. And I went with my friends Caroline and Shamey. And then we knew more about the whole thing. So we were like more conscious of things. So we were sanitizing our hands sometimes. When we were there, we went for drinks afterwards with the cast. And they were saying, yeah, this big thing, maybe our show has to close soon, because we don't know what's going on. It's so weird to be here. And so like it was like a weird thing. But we were still like hugging and stuff. So it like that was like we were still not really scared. And then I was back in London, and again I had so many photo shoots, and it was just weird to be at the photo shoots because everyone was like, yeah, have you heard this? Have you heard this? Have you heard that this is gonna blah blah? And then the Watch on Stage award party happened, and literally that was like nothing in the world was going on, because everyone was just like hanging around and partying and blah blah. No one was talking about the whole Corona situation. And then the day after, I flew to LA, just for a holiday. And I was there, and I remember that because in LA you have to do everything with an Uber or like with a taxi because everything is so far away. And I mean, as you can probably hear in my voice, my experience with LA wasn't the best because
LA, I have a very love-hate relationship with Los Angeles.
Oh, really?
Unless I'm in Disneyland, I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like,
yeah, there was like, I don't know, I'm just more of a New York boy, I think. I had nothing with.
I'm with you. LA, the airport's so far away from everything. Everything's
Yeah.
dirty and dingy. You get to New York, it's still dirty, but it's like a fun type of dirty. In LA,
Yeah,
you just feel like, get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I was there, and I was like, I mean, I just had a sore throat, and I had a headache, and I was sleeping a lot, and I didn't feel really well. But you know, by the time I was like, you know, I've been in New York, I've been in Greece, I've had like 7 photo shoots in 2 days every time when I was back in London. So my body just was really tired and exhausting. And then I went from being in winter to like being in summer because LA is always warm and like 25 degrees. So I just was like, you know, my body is just weird. And then I was in an Uber with I did shared Ubers because they are so much cheaper, and I was like, you know, I'm just not gonna waste my money on doing Ubers all the time. So I had a shared Uber, and then there was a lady who was like, her name was Golden, I think, and she was like 70 something years old, and she came in the Uber and she was like, oh, there are people in my Uber. And I said, yeah, it's a shared Uber. And she was like, oh yeah, I always just get my own Uber, but this time I did a shared one. But I really have to go to the hospital because there's something wrong with my arm. But you don't have the corona, do you? And I said, no, 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 I'm fine. Because like when like corona was like such a big thing, and like we only heard stories that people are dying from it. So I was like, no, I don't have corona, don't worry. But I didn't really feel that well. And then that was just Uber. And for the entire trip, I was really ill. And then the day that I flew back, I was at the airport, and I was so ill. Like the fact that I even made it to the airport was like disgusting. And then I was at the airport, and I sat there waiting to go through the security check. And then Trump came on the TV and stuff, and he was like, "We're closing the borders from tomorrow. Everyone has to fly home. Blah 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 blah." And it like people have to come home to America because there are no flights anymore. And then at that point, the airport was going to change like everything. So they were going to do checks, temperature checks. They were going to check how ill people were. And I was like, I'm stuck in this country because I'm so ill. So they will definitely think. And I still thought that I didn't have corona. So I was like, they will still think that I have this weird thing and I can't go home and I have my life and I have photo shoots planned for the next week. So how is this possible? Not even thinking that all of that would cancel anyway. And then I went into like one of these stores and I bought so many medicines and stuff. And I took everything. And like I know that's not good for the body, but I took everything. And then they did the security checks in like so when you have like the suitcase check and all that kind of stuff, they checked your temperature, and they did like one person, and then they took the person in front of me and the person behind me. And if they took me, I would have been still there. So I was so lucky that I got through. But like I felt so ill. And then I did the flight, and I came back on a Wednesday morning, and I had a photo shoot Wednesday evening, and I canceled. And it was the first time in my entire life that I canceled a photo shoot. And then I canceled all the photo shoots that I had for that week, except the photo shoots that I had on the Sunday. That was Love at the Musicals at Golden Hall. And I did that, and I still didn't feel really well, but I was fine. So I did that photo shoot. And then I remember that my friend Tom, who is the producer of Roles Will Never Play, called me that evening as soon as I finished the photo shoot. And he was like, Danny, how close are you to the Turbine Theater? And I said, oh, I'm on the other side of the bridge. Why? And he said, my photographer just dropped out because of Corona. Are you able to come? And then I came there, and literally half of the lineup had dropped out because they were scared of coming into London. And then the next day, the West End shut down. And I just was like, how is this something that happens? Like, how is this a thing? What am I going to do with my life now? Because like photography was my life, was my job. I did it every day. And if I didn't do it, I went to watch a show, or I don't, and like the social media agency that I do is also, we only had entertainment customers, like clients. So we only did things for theater stuff. And I just was like, what am I gonna do with my life? And I just came back from a holiday, so I just missed out on like everything. And like the most annoying part was that Sarah Bareilles was in Oasis by the time, and I was in LA, so I couldn't go to her last show. But she extended with a week, so I was like, amazing! I can go and see her last week. But then her last week was cancelled and cut down. So I just was like, oh my, I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is, by the way, a very long answer for your question.
It's completely fine.
And so then I just was home, and I didn't know what to do. I just was on Zoom with Sophie every day for like 8 hours, and we were just like talking about how weird it was. But luckily we work for Lambo Jackson Productions, and they announced the Leave a Light On concerts. So as soon as the West End shut down, 1 week later, Leave a Light On started, and they did 3 shows. So they did 3 shows per day. So I had to watch all of them to make sure everything was well. I had to like live tweet and Instagram story about them. So I watched for 10 weeks 3 Leave a Light Ons, which was crazy, and so busy. And then I worked on the last 5 years, and I worked on So Much for the World. So I was really busy, but I had a break from my camera, which was the weirdest thing. And I remember like being on the phone with my mom every week, and she was like, "Oh, you can just reach out to people and like go outside and do photo shoots, or you can do." She even said like, because a lot of people, and she meant it in a good way, but I was like, I'm a theater photographer, I want to go to the theater and take photos. But she was like, in the Netherlands, a lot of photographers who can't do their work now are reaching out to people who are losing someone because of corona, and because of all the rules they all can't go to the funeral. So maybe you can become a funeral photographer and take like really beautiful images of funerals, and then people can still be like a part of the funeral because of your pictures and stuff. And she made it in a good way, because so many people in the Netherlands were doing that, because it was like just a way to still do your passion and do your photography jobs. But I said to her, "Mom, I'm not that kind of photographer. I'm a theater photographer. I want people to sing. I want like nice lighting. I don't want sad people crying and like go to a funeral all the time." So like I didn't do that, of course. But then like little things started happening, and as soon as I saw an announcement on Watch on Stage or on Twitter somewhere, I was like, "Who is this producer, and how do I get in the room?" And again, that's how it happened. So tonight at the London Coliseum happened. I had never worked with these producers before, but I sent them a message, and I was like, "Hi, I don't know if you filmed this already, but if you have to film this, I would love to be involved. I don't need any money. I just want to be
I just want to
involved."
be there. Yeah.
Exactly. And that happened. And I mean, in the end, they were amazing producers, and they did pay me, which I'm really grateful for. And the drive-ins happened. And I was like, again, I had spoken to the people who produced the drive-ins, but I never worked with them. So I again messaged them, and I was like, "Hi, I saw you were doing the drive-ins. If you want a photographer, please let me know." And then intermissions happened in the summer as well, and I was like hired for that as part of the Digi Creative. So I did like the social media and the photography for it as well. So like little things started happening, and I just reached out. Like I just did what I'm apparently good at, and I just messaged, and I was like, "I need to be there, so let me be there."
Yeah. It comes down to how passionate you are about things as well. Like, this is
Yeah.
what you want to do, so you're going to do anything you can to get what you need to do done.
Yeah, and I would do everything. Like, and if even if like one producer won't reply, I will message the other person. Like, if it's a company of two
Oh, yeah.
people and one person doesn't reply, I will go to the other one. Like, you will find me annoying, but I will
I'll
get my
pop
reply.
both of their emails in the same thing and send them the same thing, and someone will respond.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but exactly that's how it is.
yeah, like it's like message to social media. Hey guys, who do I contact about this? This is what I want to do. This is what I'm connected to. This is what I want to do. Who
I
do I
do it all the time.
like?
Yeah,
Just throw it out there. Oh,
yeah.
we are like the legitimate same person. Oh my god.
But
Uh,
like the thing, what people think is they always think like, "Oh, you are everywhere." Like people are always asking you, and yes, I do get asked a lot for things. But like half of my work is me reaching out.
yeah, like I've been doing this for a year and a half now, and like I've only just had the first person reach out to me to
Yeah,
have a spot on
but
my show. Like,
exactly that's
it's
how it is. You
always
have to
me
reach
being like,
out.
this is what I can do for you. Like, hi, this is
Yeah,
me.
yeah, but
Like,
exactly that's how it is. But yeah, people don't. People always think that everything just comes to you because they don't see that you do like loads of work from the other side. Like I spend hours per day to like reach out.
but yeah, like that's the thing. Like the amount of hours you spend on social media, not scrolling, but being like, hey, this is what I can do.
Yeah,
Are you keen? Like,
yeah, exactly. And like, who is the best contact person for this? What is their Instagram? Do they follow me on Instagram? Do they follow me on Twitter? What is their email address? If they have a phone number, what's their phone? Like, literally, it's yeah, it takes so much time.
and then the follow up emails after you send an email to somebody, they say yes, and you're like, hi, time frame, please. What, like,
Yeah,
when are we gonna do this? Like,
yeah,
oh, it's
exactly.
so many hours, guys. Like, and
Yeah,
for me living in Australia as well, like 75% of my content is all done in the US or UK. So I'm
yeah. So you have
recording
like
late at night,
exactly.
or I'm getting up early in the morning to record. Like, it
Yeah,
consumes a lot of time to do what we do.
yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Speaking of another time consuming project that you got up to while everything was going on in the world. Dear audience, you went and created a book.
Yeah, I mean, never again. But yeah, it's the best project I've worked on in my life. It's crazy. And I think that showed, like, for myself, the connection that I have with so many people now, the fact that so many people said yes to do that, was just, it was so nice to like have so many people wanting to be involved, and even people who I had never worked with before, but who are like, who I knew and who knew me, but we just had never worked together, or I had never photographed them, but then still said yes. Which was so cool.
It's just like so cool seeing all the people, and like it was just like a really, I found it like a really awesome idea. And then seeing all the videos of you like flipping through the book, I'm like, oh man, like it's just like a really unique idea that I don't think can be replicated. Like it's definitely like it could be done, but it wouldn't have the same impact, I don't think, that it did last year.
Yeah, no, true. And but I also well, I mean, I did it to just like have fun, but I also wanted to make a statement that, and like Sophie and I were both really passionate about it, but we wanted to make the statement that the industry is not just performers.
Yeah.
So that's why, well, I mean, I think it's like 60% performers and then 40% people behind the scenes, or maybe even like 65 and 35. But that's also because we both knew more performers, and there are more performers in the industry in general. But we really wanted to make like the point that it's not just the people on stage. There are so many more people in the building and in the office. And like you, for example, as a theater content creator, like that's and people are always forgetting these kind of people.
It's like, and that's what this podcast is about. It's like, yeah, we know that shows have shut down, but when you think of a show shutting down, you think of those people on stage. You don't think of...
Exactly. And like, even though it's so sad for them, and I feel so sad that they've lost their jobs and they have things, but they can teach via Zoom. They are doing workshops. They are doing online concerts and stuff. Like a lighting designer can't just brighten up his garden. And like, but that's the thing. People forget about these things. But like, what is a lighting designer? He can't do anything because theaters are closed. Or a sound engineer, like, what can he do?
A costume designer, like a costume designer
like
just this is the exact conversation I wanted to have at some point, like here on this show, is that like there's so like a producer can't produce, like obviously some producers have produced shows, but like with the amount of producers out there, there's only limited things that can be done.
Yeah, exactly. And you also don't want 10 million live streams on at the same night, because nobody's going to watch it anymore. And there are too many things to watch at the same time.
Yeah. And like photographers, like I was in another city the other day with one of my friends who did the photography for my brand. She does a lot of festivals and live concerts and all that. And we just had a conversation about how there's no work, and like that whole experience from her perspective. And like, it's very similar from a theater perspective, but like just having that conversation and hearing people being like, yeah, like this genuinely sucks, is like, this is the conversation that isn't being had.
No, exactly. Yeah. And and you always see in the news, like, about all that kind of things, but like so many people, I don't know, there are so many more people than people think there actually are.
Guys, literally open up your program and flick past the cast pages and look at all the names of the people involved with the show.
Yeah.
Producers to lighting design to everyone that works backstage.
Sometimes the backstage area is even bigger than the people on stage.
Literally. I'm just having a look at Frozen Australia right now.
Frozen Australia. Have you seen that?
I've seen it 5 times. It is so good. Oh my God.
Literally. When I was younger, I was on a holiday when I was 14, 15 years old. No, maybe a bit older, maybe 15, 16. And I was on holiday with my dad and my stepsisters and my stepmom. And I was on my phone, and out of nothing, I found Gemma Rick's Divine Gravity on YouTube. And I wasn't even like looking for it, but like I just found it. I remember that I sat on the chair, and I've listened to her Defying Gravity for 5 hours straight.
Did you hear her do Let It Go the other day?
No, I did not, because I'm praying that I will see her one day.
Oh, I cry every time. She does this like weird little rasp thing going into the very last chorus of Let It Go, and you hear chills, literal chills.
Yeah, she's so
like just looking at, you guys aren't going to see the video. I was going to show the video, but looking at this page, there's literally like 60 odd names of people that work behind the scenes on shows. Like,
it's crazy.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And like, there's people like me and Danny who have been around that and know how to work on a show and work in the offices on a show and work in the theaters, in the box office, like cleaning. Like, there's a lot of people out of jobs right now. But on the bright side, you guys have a date for London to
have a date.
Open. We have.
Yes.
We're going to stay positive. We
are
going
to stay
open.
Yeah, we are. I think my first thing that I actually have tickets for is opening night of Six musical, 21st of May.
I hate you.
I'm sorry.
I was So Frozen was the first show, like big professional show to come back here, and I had.
But why has Six not reopened? Because you had Six.
Venue, I don't know. There is a reason. Mainly recasting as well, because we've had some people join other shows.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that they've got to recast and kind of re-rehearse, kind of I think pushed it back. But they have set a time frame for the end of the year, and they've got auditions.
End of the year.
Yeah, end of the year sometime. But they've got auditions in the next month, so it could open anytime. It'll just be a matter of locking in venues.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I can't wait for you guys to be back in a theater. Like that of walking back through a door after like so long. It's just like, I'm home. Yay.
Yeah. When when we opened in, when was it? November, December. I went to the dress run of Jamie. Everybody's talking about Jamie. And I saw Six the day before. No, like the week before. But there's no interval in Six. But I'm that kind of person who, like, as soon as the interval starts, I need a wee. So when Jamie was like, and I just stood up as soon as the interval started, and I ran to the toilet to go for a wee, and I just missed that. I remember being like, is it already the interval because I really need a wee? Like, it's the weirdest thing, but I remember that I just went there and I was like, I just missed this.
It's just going to be so fun to have theatre back around the world, and fingers crossed Broadway gets back up and running by its prospective date.
Hopefully.
But if we can hit hubs left, right, and centre, we'll be back there. And that is what we're hoping for.
We will be back one day.
Exactly. We will be
back. I mean, at least we know that. Like, we don't know when, but we will be back.
Yeah. I think this industry is too passionate not to come back. We'll literally set up stages in the streets if you don't let us. We'll fight you.
True. When you go over to or the UK or to New York, what is going to be your first show that you will go and see?
Oh. I'd have to go to London, and it'll be a toss-up between Jamie and Juliet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, well, the Australian production of Jamie got cancelled because of COVID, so it's not coming down here anymore.
Oh.
So it'll be that, or I don't know. I think they're the top two at the moment.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're my top two. Because we've got Come From Away, Frozen, Hamilton down.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I thought you were gonna say Come From Away, but then I realized that you have it. So
yeah, and I saw it like a month ago. So like, I'm good.
So cool. Like, your theaters are just open.
It's crazy. Like, and I didn't go to theatre in Brisbane when I was there, but I've been to theatre in Sydney and I've been to theatre in Melbourne, and just like the vibes from the different audiences and just to chat to the cast, because like I've got friends all over the place, is just like you can see the passion behind people. And
yeah,
as much as like I can record conversations, guys, like seeing people's actual like love for what they do is just insane.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's so exciting. What are you most to wrap things up? Let's put a wrap up on this. Let's put a bow on it. What are you most excited for when theaters do reopen?
Work-wise or to like watch?
Both.
So work-wise, I love photographing the experience from people. So I like what I really like is just walking around the theater and seeing people living their best lives while they're watching a performance, and then try to capture that and try to capture the atmosphere of what's going on. So that was when theaters reopened last time. It was all socially distanced, and it felt really special to photograph like a half empty auditorium, but people on stage are so happy to be back on stage, and the people who were in the auditorium were so happy and so excited. But on the first hand, it looks like you're watching a concert that's only half sold out, so you are like, oh, they didn't sell really well. But on the other side, when you look better, you see that the people are actually living their best life. So I really try to do that kind of thing. So I really like to do that, and then just like walk around and run around and just complain about the fact that it's always so warm in a theater, and that when I run that I'm so sweaty and stuff. Like I can't wait to actually do that again. And I know that like some really cool things are coming up, and I'm just so excited to do that kind of things, like things that have been postponed for a year, and like just like looking forward to like really cool things that are gonna happen. And to watch, I just can't wait to like be in the theater again and just like scream like when I see something really cool. Or like just like the funniest thing is I don't know if it's my language barrier or whatever it is, but like sometimes when a joke happens on stage, the joke doesn't fall on me. So it's like the joke happens and everyone is laughing, and then like 10 seconds later, then there's me laughing, because then I have to think of the joke. And like I just love seeing my friends being like, Denny, why are you laughing? And it's just like it's fun. But there are also so many things that I laugh from, but nobody else in the whole theater laughs. But maybe it's because I'm Dutch, or maybe because I'm just a weirdo. But there are so many things that I laugh from that nobody else laughs about. So it's just I can't wait to have these experiences again, and just like I don't know, I just love theater so much.
I love it, man. Danny and I could literally talk for another like 3 hours. We're gonna hit pause on the recording there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Danny. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice.
Cannot wait to run around London with you and tear up
same.
Things are back open. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you are following this podcast wherever you're listening. Hit that button right next to the play button, because
hit the button.
Yeah, exactly. Danny said do it, so just do it.
Hit the button.
I am so excited to be back and producing these episodes for you guys to listen to on a weekly basis. Make sure you're checking out all of Danny's ats down below. His website, Instagram, Twitter, everything is down there, so go click it. And guys, we will be back next week with a brand new episode of the We Are Theatre podcast. Bye.